I had to take a gap year. It was a rough deal, but got in and really just admiring the men in my life. Grew up, mom had me at 19, my dad wasn't around, and it was just football coaches that I gravitated to. And thank God, Jim Herson was at Edward Little. Coach Twitchell was there. Darren Hartley came in my senior year, and again, that transformed my life. So continue hammering on these guys, believe in them, doing it for the right reasons. I wanted to be a high school coach, and I've done that. Toggled back and forth between high school and college, and I'm just really fortunate, again, because of the relationships I had with Mark Harriman, to get down to Springfield and ultimately be able to come back there. So it means a lot. Torn a little bit on, what is the best thing for you? Again, because I've been at the high school level, there's going to be a lot of fundamentals, a lot of drills. I know that everyone does that, and they're talking about tackling and not so much scheme, but ultimately just trying to think, what can you get? What is worth it for you ultimately as you come into one of these? And I know for me that drill work has always been the thing that I crave, and I'm trying to find, and I'm screen recording off YouTube and putting it in the huddle to show the kids. And so there's going to be a lot on here. And it's, again, I'm vomiting drills at you, but I want to try to put that into a progression. And I hope that it's meaningful in terms of schematic things. We'd love to talk about that too. And more than happy after this. So contact info is right. I have a card and obviously on the website nowadays, everything like that. We got spring ball rolling. If you want to come down, obviously you're more than welcome. It's a little bit of a drive. In every place that I've been, we have ultimately started, and I've tried to bring this with me, again, at the high school level, getting our coaches to understand how are we going to teach. Going into college and being at the collegiate level, and then going back down to high school, again, has really shaped my perspective of how can we model the things that are being done at the collegiate level and make that applicable to high school. And try not to say, well, that's how they do it at their level, but bring it down and still have great teaching. This is really from my background in education. When we talk game planning, we really are thinking, okay, what's the game plan going to be? Who are we trying to stop? What are the schemes that I'm going to use to take away what they're doing? What are the techniques associated with those schemes? Am I playing cover three? Does that mean I have hook players, curl flat players? Then ultimately, what are the skills you need to play that technique? And so it's a reverse engineer deal here, right? We're going to just identify those things. We're going to build our practice plan starting with the skills, to the technique, to the scheme, and obviously ultimately to the game plan. What does our installation sequence go? We try to hit 7 of them every time. And the first thing we want to do is hit it in a meeting. We want to show a diagram. The best thing going right now, and I'm trying to do a better job myself of doing this, is not drawing the X and O's, circles on paper. I'm trying to take screenshots right off of huddle of that tight copy, of the wide copy, and say, hey, this is our alignment, right? This is who 2 weak is, 3 strong, and draw it right in the huddle so you're actually seeing the game. And I think that's what you learn best from. And again, I haven't been doing that as much. I'm pretty efficient drawing on the computer and all that, so I just tend to do the X and O's, but it translates much better if I can show pictures. Then we're hitting a walkthrough. Obviously, we're doing our must circuits, so these are fundamental circuits which we'll hit on. We're going to hit it in individual, we're going to hit it in group, we're going to hit it in team, and then we're going to review and debrief it on film. Yeah, it's nothing new, it's all things that we've been doing, but you've got to try to hit this thing. So there's 7 opportunities to learn those skills and techniques associated with our scheme. Thinking about this from a teaching progression continuum. When we're talking about drill progressions, we're starting with the simple to complex all the time. Every single thing I do, and this is some background in strength and conditioning as well, but it's got a regression and a progression to every single movement we do. I know how to fix you if you don't know how to do that movement. If we're squatting, I'm going to start you with a goblet squat. You have bad ankle mobility, I'm going to elevate those heels so you can get to depth. Then we're going to progress you off the elevated heel. We're going to progress you past goblet squat. We're going to load it with a bar. We're thinking about the same thing when we're doing our drills. Ultimately going to scheme related stuff, it's the unit, it's part and whole. Yeah, we've been doing this forever, but it's hey, we just got our secondary shell and they're working together on their coverage fits. Now we bring it together as a team because the front was working. So we're really trying to approach, I know you want drills and whatnot, but I believe so much in this, I had to Positive specific feedback. Charlie Sullivan, volleyball coach, Springfield College, best class I've ever taken. I think 11 or 13 championships, national championships. But positive specific feedback. I guilty as anybody of saying good job. Oh, great rep, awesome job. He said that's the worst coaching you can do. I try not to say good job because we can basically give you positive reinforcement and feedback by using the same cues, right? Great job. That's the way to burn your eyes to the near hip. Getting that near foot up for your gather. Awesome finish. I can, again, use my specific coaching cues as I'm giving that feedback, and I really try to strive to do that. And we've got some instructional loop stuff in terms of revisiting things. I'm going to skip over that. So we're talking about the philosophy, the fundamentals of defense. Coach defense, not defenses. We get lost in the scheme. If you can't block, tackle, or obviously block, tackle, you aren't going to be a great football team. You got to be able to ultimately be great tacklers. You got to have relentless pursuit, block destruction, and then ultimately try to have great ball disruption, which we'll see on here. And create those takeaways. So that's the pillars. And we're trying to drill this in circuits as much as possible. We want to hit these fundamentals. And we have one or two calls day one, and we're trying to do these things at an elite level. Great quote we use with our guys, just a belt pursuit. Obviously, imagine all your worldly possessions, someone's running down the street with that, and then you're chasing them. Yeah, so whatever it is that you want to show, but again, have a mantra around this. So we start team pursuit. I have gone back and forth on this, coordinated at the high school level. Is this the best use of our time? I mean, everyone has probably been there, correct? Is this the best use of our time? But let's go back, simple to complex. This is day one. And every time I haven't done this with a defensive group, I've regretted it. Because I wanted to go on to higher level things and talk about lining up and all these, where am I supposed to be, and fitting option, things like that. But this is the foundation of everything. And so we've all been there. We're doing the sideline pursuit. So we're running out right here. Coach Durian's our defensive coordinator, unbelievable coach, and just has built an unbelievable culture in Springfield. So we're running out, giving a hard count here. We got a guy jump, boom. Everyone's doing up downs, going back to the sideline and coming back out. And this is just like every pursuit drill you've never done. We're not reinventing the wheel here. Boom, we're getting aside, and we're obviously sprinting full speed. Big gap there. Again, some people put out cones for landmarks. I think every 5 yards works. And then finishing with your toes on the line. So some guys doing this at an elite level, other guys lacking discipline and running past the sideline. So we're still doing that. And we believe, again, that it sets the foundation of obviously great pursuit, foundation of our defense. We progress this now to a location. So I'm not mindlessly just running to the sideline, but I'm rallying to a location or responding. There's a stimulus there that is bringing me to a certain spot on the field, and we're just rallying, and everyone's got to get there. All 11 have to get there. And we change, obviously, where the ball's going. Okay, so again, just rallying, getting a break, coaching guys. And for us in practice, that'll start in what we call RTP period, which is ready to play. So right out of our run stretch in our specialist period, we go right in, offense and defense, into an RTP, where it's full speed, selling out. They've done everything. We run the triple option off. We've done everything like push the 7 minute, 5 minute, 7 minute slide up and down the field for RTP, just to try to get you going and fired up. Okay, well, again, going to more complex right here, just from that teaching perspective. So we're adding some more skills into this. We're going to work a position-specific movement, some linebackers right here, and now we're going to turn and burn and go make a tackle on the side. With still elements of pursuit, adding in sprinting to gathering to getting our proper shoulder, proper leverage side on the pad. Okay, so and trying to marry this again with the appropriate technique. So this next one, we'll see we've got defensive backs in here, so they can pedal, they can weave, and they can break, and it's changing your break area. So it's just a little bit more bang for your buck, so it's not as painful as just run to the sideline. And I can get some movement in there, I can get a gather on my tackle. Seeing this thing show up on film. So second round of the playoffs right here. And we're just, we're not schematic here or talking about the different types of block destruction and tackling, but just watching the white in the effort that they're going to play with. And we want to show these drills and show our kids a clip. Against a great opponent, it's going to be a one-score game. In the second round of the playoffs, it's going to be a dogfight. We hope to have the ball with the last possession, right, with a chance to win. And so it's all these drills showing up. This is first round of the playoffs. Again, excellent pursuit. Guys understanding angles, adjusting, running, even D linemen, every single time sprinting on the backside. Go save this touchdown. And we've got countless examples of that showing up, especially against triple option opponents. And when we can get them down, maybe force them in the field goal range, that becomes absolutely critical for us. Yeah, another shot at the first round of the playoffs. Perimeter run right here on the read. And again, we've got guys sprinting on the backside, full speed, trying to take proper angles. And so it does show up on film. Okay, past a couple of months. Ultimately, progress this thing into situational football right here. So now we've got the takeaway, right? We've all done this. We're throwing the ball up. We've got to block the intended receiver. We've got to build a convoy on the sideline. We've got to make sure, obviously, the quarterback and any linemen are blocked, escort them to the end zone. So we're hitting that. This is the conference championship game against Catholic down in D.C. It's a one-score game right here. Just had a punt, I believe, that flipped the field possession. They're down by a score. They got to push the pace here. Bad throw, catch the ones they throw you, we pick it, and look at it showing up on film. Guys finding color, guys finding work. This guy getting two blocked, okay? Trying to take care of the quarterback, and then the effort to finish guys on the ground. And ultimately that puts us up, able to get our second conference championship in a row. Right here, first series of the second round of the playoffs. This is how it starts against Ithaca, a tremendous football team up in New York. But again, setting that convoy up, get to the near sideline, get these guys blocked, and finish. So we are still starting, again, with all of these different types of pursuit opportunities. Scramble drill as well. So get the quarterback now. When he breaks the pocket, we plaster the receivers. They are going to convert their routes. Deep routes are now coming back short, right? Shorter routes are breaking to the sideline that he is ultimately working. So we want to see this secondary plastering routes. Go find work right now. Go attach to him. On the backside, guys can start to come out of coverage. We want to see right here that Sam zoning off, hang in coverage, and then we're able to obviously get great pursuit with the defensive line. Quarterback's moving around, little boot here, plastering to receivers. Just man coverage at this point, and basically forcing him to hold the football and ultimately finally getting there with pursuit. Okay? The other thing we do in RTP, we talk about becoming more complex, is with team fastball. And so this is now, it's really smart pursuit. We're going to use our team script, and we're going to come out here and line up as fast as we can with our scouts. We're going to run the play. No corrections. Okay, we're just seeing how this thing works. Once we get to team, we might tempo down and make those corrections, but this is line up, communicate. They're running, obviously, their top hitter plays right here, and we're just sprinting to the football full speed. Our coach is then setting the football 5 yards down the field after that as fast as they can. So this, to me, just becomes a more complex pursuit drill. It kind of incorporates that spot. Where's the ball going? We've got to turn and sprint to that football. These guys obviously want to get our checks in communication, but ultimately we're looking for effort right here, because nothing else matters if we can't run to the football. So we just move this thing up 5. Again, we're attacking the perimeter. We're trying to get people to run full speed. We're on them. It's in season. Everyone's beat up, but we've got to have that mentality if we're going to be a successful football team. Okay? So getting into some specifics here around block destruction. And I know this is hard to see. I kind of clipped this. This isn't necessarily what we use at Springfield currently. This is something when I was coaching in high school, we had made for all the coaches. And it's trying to get everyone on the same page and just illustrate, okay, these are our 4 types of block destruction. Here's our cues associated with that. Again, it's hard to see. I'll send any of the stuff to you guys that you want. Okay, but we're talking about, okay, there's the shock phase where we're taking on this blocker. Some people call it stun, we call it bully. We're taking on, we got those thumbs up, tight wrist, elbows in. We're trying to get extension and obviously get our hands above our eyes. So we've got all of those cues. cues. And it could be a lot of great coaches are trying to move to just one word calls. Again, we should just be able, hey, you've got a shock there to a player, and he should understand these are the components, these are the cues to shock. Okay, and then we've got our drill menu at the bottom. So there's our progression and regression, just starting with partner half man as I'm taking on a block. I'm just punching tick cup, and I'm just working on where my hands go. Progressing into using Miyagi boards or difference boards. Those are just 2x4s that we strike and work to keep those hands in. All the way to where now we're moving and finishing with a tackle. So I think it's really worth your time to try to organize this, to get it down, and to share it with your coaches so you're always talking the same language. So with that Springfield, this is how we talked about it. Taking on a block, tight wrist, thumbs up, elbows in, strike above your eyes. Getting off the block is a violent snag. Some people call it tear. Clear the hip and the eyes on a new target. So we start off just with a 6-point progression right here, and they're holding those 2x4s about 2 feet long, and that's what they're striking, and it forces their hands obviously to be tight, and it gives them a hard surface to strike. You can do it also with a sled, obviously, just classic D line dribble. Well, we want everyone to experience this, sinking those hips. There's a string tied from your elbows to your hips. When you shoot those elbows, your hips got to come through. Emphasize coming out of your hips, just supermaning through. Okay, so we try to work this in a variety of different ways. Okay, the blood drill, where we're changing up which bag is presenting, and we've got to strike that as fast as we can. So we're trying to mix up just the location, but again, getting ourselves combat ready. The difference board's right here, is what I was talking about. So this is a great drill. They don't have shoulder pads on, right? And so you're not always in the summer in full pads. And these boards right here becomes an unbelievable tool to me to work on this stun, this bully, or this shock component that you're trying to teach, okay? This is also a place that a lot of these drills, think about from a strength and conditioning standpoint. I know in our off-season program, when I was coaching in high school, is our phase 3 is we were doing complexes. So we were doing maybe a trap bar deadlift to then a vertical jump. Okay, and in the training world, and there's some science behind that, but you can fire up that stimulus from the heavy weight and then get the better response on doing an athletic movement. And so for bench press, for instance, we would go to med ball throws with that. So we get on it, we bench heavy, then boom, about 30 seconds later, we're on the ground, our partner's dropping a med ball to our chest, and we're just trying to throw it up as high as we can. For me, why aren't we doing this bench press, take a minute, and then going and getting some difference board strikes? Because it's the same movement in some sense. This is the expression of a bench press, ultimately. I'm trying to shock. Now again, you could argue, so it's the expression of a hanger. We can play that game. But again, ultimately, using my hands and being violent with those hands. I think this is, again, it's one of my favorite components right here. Coach D'Arienzo was at Rutgers, and they really utilize this. So I want to show you that. You can also tear them away. So now starting to add in that finish component. Simple to complex. All of that stuff we just looked at was stationary. So now let's start moving. Let's start moving. Again, I'm going to get about 3 strikes here. Okay, so again, I'm shocking, moving those feet, and then ultimately I'm going to tear it off and work to attack. We're just building these skills together. Day 1, we're on the difference boards. Well, we're trying to progress to this as soon as they're proficient at difference boards, you got to change the drill because it's not doing anything anymore. They're good at that. So adjust your drill and try to improve it and create more stimulus. As you need to go back to film anything. Okay, moving to position specific. So right here, backers. Okay, boom. I'm shocked, I'm tearing off, and I'm tracking to a ball carrier. We've got DBs, they're pedaling out. Now they're going to a stop block, again, with that finish. So try to tailor ultimately to your position. Now I'm getting some kind of outside zone or reach. Again, I'm working, getting that violent shock, and then tearing off and working, obviously, to my finish. Can get the donuts going. There's 1,001 ways to do this, okay? And it's just trying to be creative. And again, just, I think, going on plays and ultimately seeing different ways that people are doing it. This is perimeter drill right here. So now he's either going to crack the outside linebacker and the safety's going to replace, or he's going to climb for him. So right here he climbs we're working obviously our shock and violent escape right there. So seeing this stuff show up on film, we've got to ultimately, when we're putting in these drills, show where is this going to be? Okay, does it happen in the game? Create buy-in to what you're doing. We all know we're not at a place where we just mindlessly do things. Everyone wants to know why, what the purpose is. I think it's a bad thing because we got answers for that stuff. So we're watching the outside linebacker right here, violently striking. He's got tight elbows. Obviously, elbows are in. Tight wrist, thumbs up, getting that extension, hands above his eyes. He's able to knock this back. He takes two. Obviously, he's a tremendous player. Okay, but that's a heck of a play right there. D lineman showing up. Boom, I get ear hole, I'm snapping back because this is gap scheme. Redirect those hands. Try to violent hands, get extension, tear it off, make the play. It's going to be, again, out here on the perimeter, just taking on this block. Again, shocking this guy, able to escape in a dominant position, and we're pursuing to the football. This is Union right here, tremendous offensive line. Watching these two inside linebackers right here, 51 to start. But you can see the violence, tight ends climbing for him. And he doesn't do a great job of getting his near foot up, but you can see the shift in weight and the pop he's got. Great player for us. And watch number 1 right here. He's getting overwhelmed. Okay, something I'm really high on. This is old school, Lou Tepper, complete linebacking. Come up here. But one of the most important, Coach, you want to step up for a second? One of the most important components of teaching this is getting into a staggered stance. So just like when we're tackling, we talked about near foot, near shoulder, we'll get into that in a second. Block destruction, it's the same thing. If my feet are parallel, this is how we play basketball, we are pushing the move laterally. We cannot take on a block with our feet parallel. We have got to get into a stagger. I got to put force straight ahead and redirect that force straight ahead, just like I'm coming out of the blocks as a sprinter. So I've got to get this near foot up, and that way, again, I can put force through the ground and get that extension. So we're really trying that things. I told him before, I think he's going to demonstrate, act like I'm really strong. And so getting into that, again, that staggered stance, I think is incredibly important. That's what we're talking as we get into the tackling with our gather, is we're trying to get that near foot up all the time. That's a great example of it right there. It's getting overwhelmed a little bit. Again, giving great effort, get back in it, could be better. Seeing the perimeter drill show up right here, watching this corner, again, redirecting, attacking the blocker on his terms. Feet are constantly moving forward. Great job by the safety on his pursuit angle, forcing this thing outside, so we're obviously fit up correctly there, but the violence. D-line, okay, playing gap and a half. It's ball over blocker. This thing isn't coming in my gap. I'm going to cross face, arm over this thing, back in, get in on the play. But it, again, shows up at all levels, and you got to drill it at all levels. Okay, this is starting to get in now. We've got 2 clips because we also teach, now we don't have any drills for it, but we also teach a slip, okay, where we're going to escape without contact. We've got a tackle right here working to a corner. He's in space and that's his advantage. So he's not going to go in there and shock him and try to take that on, and he can't cut him anymore, unfortunately. Okay, so he's going to slip that thing and go under and try to make the play. I'll show you one more of a linebacker doing this. And right here, 75 was a heck of a player, sophomore, believe it or not, this guy right here. Okay, so we're working, hey, I'm going to work around and I'm not going to use my hands. I'm going to try to slip under. And so he's just working a tight dip and rip right here. How we've really, and I've thought about doing this in the past and have done it, is those bullet arms or those crayons that people put on their hands, and we're just trying to work just that club white, okay, or club chalk, whatever it is that you're calling, okay? And as I'm doing that, and let me go back here for a second, with just our tear and our finish. So I'm in this near foot stack. As I get extension, I'm obviously going to have the gap, the foot opposite my gap is going to be up, so that my eyes can pop into this gap. And as I'm looking to escape, I'm going to tear. The pop-ups, the big pop-up bags that pop back up, grab the handles and just, again, get into that near foot stagger, tear And what you're coaching, your feedback as a player is if that pop-up hits the ground, then you're tearing it violently enough. Sandbags are another thing that's perfect. I'm here, I got the sandbag up, and I'm tearing it to my opposite hip down. So as I'm doing that, I'm getting the extension. I want to step through into this gap. So I take that near foot away, and I'm tearing down to that opposite hip, stepping into my gap, and then I can clear that hip, and I can stack. So again, sandbags, those pop-up, those things are pretty expensive. So I don't know how many of those that you have, but again, those sandbags, some people have them in the weight room. Those are perfect for working on your tear. Shows up on teams as well. If we're going slip, same thought process. I'm going to take my near hip, my near shoulder away. So as I work that club, I'm just going to take that near shoulder away. That cue usually does enough, in my experience, to get them to open up, be able to knock those hands away, and then tight arm over and stack. So that finish position is the same, ultimately, okay, as you're working both of those things. And with the size of these linemen now, and your backers, because they have to be so fast to get to carry 3 vertical, you know, and your 2 and all that, is they've got to be able to get around. If you watch the tight copies of college games. I mean, FBS, they're going around everything almost, okay? So, yeah, we're trying to work on all of those components. Any questions with those or ideas on drills, maybe another way that you've done it?
I had a question on the 2x4 things.
Yes.
That's fascinating. So I coach youth, and that's trying to get them to get those thumbs up. Some guys want to do this. I mean,
right.
I could spend all day with some of them not getting it right. But I think that 2x4, because that's going to hurt if they do it wrong, right?
Yeah, well, so you got to have a good grip. You want to, and I think it teaches great of hitting with the heel of your hand. Like, I think a great cue is to snap the heel. And this was 2 weeks ago or something. I was at the Glacier Clinic in Mass, and I think it was Pat Flair, the O-line coach at Rutgers, who's a Super Bowl champion coach. And he's coaching his O-line to snap the heel of your hand when you strike. Well, I'm like, okay, I'm taking that. Because obviously this is the hardest part of your hand, and it's locking that elbow out right now. So I think that the 2x4, it's gonna be hard for those kids. And trying to find a balance. Coach Custonian was over there doing, had us doing cinder block push-ups in college, on the cinder block, cutting your hand up. But old school guy, classic Coach Custonian move right there. But being able to strike that with a heel hand, understand where that power and that force is going to come through, and try to obviously get that extension, I think is great. We coached O-line at Springfield when I GA'd. We used to tie their hands together, on the O-line with belts or whatever, and keep. So I mean, there's so many ways to do it. I just find because your hand placement has to be right, because you'll miss. It's just such a bang for your buck drill, right? We're all looking for that drill that's low explanation, hit the board.
What are the dimensions of that board?
It's just a 2x4, about 2 feet, coach, is what I've used. Nothing really complicated. And we should market that. We should fund this whole operation. We'll eat a little bit better and all that. So, and when, again, not to beat this thing to death, when you're holding the board, I wanted to hit that. Anytime you're holding a bag or a board, get into a stagger. You got to give resistance. This guy can't be sleepless now, because if he's like this, he's going to get a 2x4 in the face. So lock it out, great grip, get into a stagger so you can give some resistance.
Yeah.
So, and that's any bag holder in my mind. You can't hold it back. We are talking parallel stance, but you get knocked back. Okay, again, we're going under, we're getting high walled right here, great shot, great finish. Continue on. But talking tackling here, in which this topic is hit a lot, and I love it. When I was at Yale, we had a company come in and gave us a bunch of drills, and you probably can remember their name better than I can. It was tremendous, but we broke, I want to give this to you again. This is the way that I've done it in the past at the high school level, and I'll show you how we're doing, okay? But we broke this down into an approach phase and a contact phase. I really love this, and again, it's quite a bit, but I do believe it's important. So we would have a day tackle that was the fit day, that was non-contact. And then our other tackle day of the week would be the contact phase. And so the approach phase is we're teaching leverage, tracking, posture, and shoulder strike. So this is pre-contact, getting into a little bit of contact with the shoulder strike, but it's not high impact. It's not high impact. okay? Leverage, legitimately, is just teaching people, we are all yelling leverage on the field all the time. I don't think we define it that well. I know that I kind of understood it, and you're at an advantage if you get it better than your buddy. You're going to probably play over him just because you understand the word leverage. So legitimately just getting in, hey, he's a rabbit, and I'm just mirroring, and I got to stay on one side of his hip, and you'll see that. Tracking is just pacing the ball carrier. I like that word, pace, something from another clinic a week ago. Okay, so I like that deal. Pacing is a good word, but tracking the near hip. Posture is getting into that combat-ready pre-contact position. You can get there, and if you're standing straight up, it's going to be bad news for you. So try to press those numbers to your thigh and bend and get low. And then our shoulder strike is obviously fitting on the ball carrier with our shoulder. Then we would do, it ties into what we're talking about. I got drills in here in a second. The contact phase was knockback, angle, roll, and swipe. So this is how we're going to finish the tackle. You're going to knock him back if it's square. You're going to angle tackle this deal. You're going to roll it or swipe. Ultimately, we were using this. This came from when I was at Yale, went out to Michigan. Coach Partridge, he's back there with that Ole Miss. Unbelievable presentation. He's talking teams and tackling, and I'm like, this just cleared the whole thing up for me, so that's what I adopted. Okay? And this is based on visually what you're seeing as a ball carrier. And so if you see his numbers, then you're going to be prepared for a knockback tackle. And it's giving them the framework. They didn't have any question about what type of tackle they were supposed to make. And if I see his numbers, what's my approach? He's square. He's got a two-way go. I've got a long stride to short stride. Some people call it shimmy. Some people call it scallop. Some people call it gather. Some people call it short stride. So like classic football, I got 18 names for the same thing. But I'm going to get into that stagger, and I'm going to kind of inch forward. I'm not coming to balance like this. We've already talked about this. If I come to balance and sit on my heels, I can't press the ball carrier. I'm not in a contact position. So I've got to be in a stagger, and I've just got to work towards him. And that's how I decelerate. That's my deceleration mechanics. Okay, so if I see him and he's got a two-way go, I have to decelerate and respond to the cut that he's going to make while maintaining my leverage, which we hit obviously in the other circuit. If I see his ear hole, it's an angle tackle. If David's up here, I should introduce him. Coach Wells right here, GA, 6-year quarterback at Springfield, triple option. So if he's square, he's got a two-way go. As soon as I get his ear hole, he doesn't have a two-way go. I am sprint finishing through with my near foot, near shoulder for an angle tackle. As I'm pursuing, I'm coming downhill. So this is positive and in front. Okay, so it's in front, it's positive. I'm going to knock back or angle tackle. As soon as I'm in a negative position, so coach is running, I see ear hole, I'm obviously on that banana path as I'm tracking him, and that's when I'm going to go to my roll tackle, my wrap and roll, gator roll, whatever you're calling it. So, and then ultimately the worst case scenario is I see his numbers and I'm directly behind him. I got to go for my clip the heel, swipe, tackle, finish. I think great cue on that is obviously aim to hit the front foot and then roll so you lay it on your back, not on your shoulder. Okay, so this has been, I found this to be really effective for me personally, especially at the high school level. And so this just has key visual approach and what your finish is. Okay? Any questions with that? Comments, suggestions to improve. Okay? So the tackling system at Springfield, it's near foot, near shoulder, trying to keep your head out of it. That's really what we're cueing. There's the components that we've talked about: sprint, gather, leverage, finish. How we track the near hip, we leverage with the near shoulder, wrap and roll. And I want to read that for verbatim. The tackling system here, Coach Girienzo from Rutgers is using. I think this is great. So I'm wrestling right now. Well, what is the best? What I like about this is press the hip is tracking, bite the thigh is the cue. And I've heard the Patriots use that as well. What I like about that is it's basically combining knockback tackle and roll tackle from the system that I just talked about. So if I'm just working to bite that thigh, okay, then again, if I'm trying to get a knockback tackle, He's at an angle, I'm now just working to bite that thigh and it becomes an angle tackle now. And then it goes to the gator roll, sweep the ankle. So it takes one less component out of it. Could be splitting hairs, but these are the things I loosely put. Okay, so pre-contact, speed to gather. This is getting into that shimmy, scallop, short stride, whatever you want to call it, position right here. So we're just sprinting, getting that near foot up, burning our eyes to the near hip, trying to decelerate in that stagger. Okay, this is just last year doing it out in St. Olaf. And we're working it like that. Those couple drills right there were okay. But I want to really exaggerate this. Get as low as I can, get my hip down, so he's got to get his hip down. I'm looking for his eyes. I got my near foot up, match my foot. I think you got to get into it and really coach it if that's what you want to believe in. I couldn't get kids to come with a near foot up for the life of me. Okay, it was driving me absolutely bananas. This is us down in Georgia right here. Okay? And so, we talk simple to complex. Is this realistic whatsoever? No. But you know what? You're going to stop and get the near foot up. And then you're going to shimmy, which is not how you really shimmy, but you're going to keep that posture. And we got the physio ball there, which I think is a great tackling tool. And now you're going to have to bend and finish with your hands and scoop that thing up. That was our intervention. It's just like teaching any other subject, right? If they don't understand, you got to go back and have some kind of intervention and get it squared away. So again, gross exaggeration, but that's the valedictorian right there. And he's 170 pounds playing linebacker, okay? But he's got the near foot up. And we have a chance, okay, with these guys with their near foot up. This cat right here, okay, you can see, this was a freshman here, but look at his change in pace. This is how you know if you're really good. He's going full speed, and about a yard and a half away, he can almost stop on a dime. And you're coaching quiet feet, near foot up, keep those elbows in tight. Okay, then we, again, go to complex, add a stimulus now. These things roll. This is my favorite. Physio balls are my favorite thing. So now, I'm going to roll that thing. You need to match this on speed and angle, just like if you were a forced defender, and that was a ball. If this thing's coming straight at you, you better be attacking this thing and taking the air out of it. Press the hip. This thing's flat, you got to maintain your leverage. You've got to match the speed and angle, and then get in. We see it right there, that little short stride. In my experience, that's the difference between making a tackle and not making a tackle. Okay, and again, learning this tackling system, you know, it's one of those things, man, I wish I had thought about it like that or knew that. This, I just threw this in here. This is how we're teaching leverage day one. Again, this is not anything crazy, but I believe in it. You want people to understand leverage? Hey, we're working together. There's your racket. We got to finish shoulder to shoulder, near foot up, and make this vice tackle right here. Same deal down here, giving him a direction. He's turning and running. The guy to that side says what? My leverage is being threatened. I got to turn, sprint. I've got to turn and sprint and match that and maintain that leverage all the time. You're in a spill, lever, spill, or lever, spill, lever system, or box, spill, box system. You got to understand leverage. Okay? Tracking. So a little bit of a different spin on it right here. Again, this was from that short time just going out for a couple days in Michigan. A lot of people do their tracking. We're talking about tracking or pacing the ball right now. We've all done this drill probably at some point. Okay? If you want to embed the visual stimulus into it, like we talked about before, is it's now a shuffle to turn and run. And so here, great player for us, Eric Brown, didn't play in college, unfortunately, all-state receiver and safety, but he's in that scallop shimmy. He's going to turn and sprint as soon as he gets to your hole. I got numbers, I got a scallop or shimmy or a short stride, and I got to come to balance. So because that was the framework we coached this in, that's how we tried to build those drills. Again, I think it's been useful in my experience. Hey, changing the angle, obviously working to vice this thing with the sideline. Changing the angle is really critical. Okay, adding in some variation. This system, it's Atavus is the name of the tackling system. But they do a great job. I love, they just call it choice drills. Where, again, going back to education, if it's blocked practice, you know what's going to happen in that drill. This tackle's going down and you're going to surf. There should be 90% execution rate in a drill like that. Now, if you don't know if he's going to reach you or down block, then there's probably going to be 70, 80% execution on that. So that's the choice, that's the variables we want to get from a block, practice to obviously a choice practice, a variable practice. So we have to respond to stimulus just like a game. And so right here, 6 cones, change the angle. This guy's got ear hole right now. He shouldn't gather, he should go. He should go and get to that hip. So it's Springfield working it, understand where your leverage is, press that hip. This drives me crazy because that's a missed tackle. I really firmly believe in having your hands down and track into that hip. If you do this, it just seems to bring you up. Okay, so having your hands down, and I'm going to strike that. And I'm trying to give him a shot on the hip. And I'm trying to stay low. We're not tackling to the man and finishing here. We're tackling through the man. It's a spot beyond theory. You're trying to tackle that guy 3 yards past where he is. And there's a lot of different ways to skin it. So I get it. This right here, these are 2 freshmen. They've gone through this progression, what we're talking about right now. And this is pretty close quarters. This is borderline to me in practice. We're getting too physical here. But, I mean, that's a guy, again, he's a little high. That's pretty good contact, I think, for high school. This, to me, again, it's not come out and just do Oklahoma drill. It's that, I mean, even in college, I'm like, I haven't hit anybody in a year, and I'm out here doing Oklahoma drill day 1. Like, I don't even know how to think about this thing. I'm just going to black out and go. So, trying to, again, progress these guys in. Okay, again, I'm turning the corner. Where's my leverage? Near foot, near shoulder. Look at that. Get that foot up. Bang! Right there and finish. That's pretty, again, these are high school guys, so doing a pretty good job. Make it game-like. Patriots, best drills in the world. This is a box tackle drill. We're going to get a quarterback, throwing the ball to someone. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to knife. We're going to try to hit him with bags to work on. You got to secure the catch. We're going to do an up, down, and drop into the box. Your job is to protect your leverage. You got to force him to go this way. There's pursuit. There's someone else on the field. And you can see getting that near foot up, coming, right? Starting to tempo down. Not a great stagger, but he understands his leverage and it's working back. And that gets me juiced up right there. That gets me excited. Okay, so boom, same thing. Again, understanding, play to it. Let him go that way. Great patience. Overstepped, off balance. We got a chance because he forced him to the right side, whether it's the sideline or our pursuit. Seeing this thing, obviously up, where this shows up on film, speed option, inside backer right here. I've got the pitch man, and he's tracking right here. To me, I got ear hole and I'm running through. Coach DiRienzo says hips high, let it fly. You're going full speed. Think that's a cool way to say it too. So boom, I'm going, burn, burn, burn. Gives a great hit. Get first round of the playoffs. Big games. We're showing them the big games, the hard games is what we want to watch. Real quickly, buzz through and have another perimeter play just to see that. Let's move into the next phase here. Okay, right here is that square tackle situation. Again, we're just saying bite the thigh, let's see. Bang! Great contact. Start to gather and just get that near foot up. I'm going to go past these because I'm way behind. Okay? And I can send this to you. Shoulder punch progression. I got into this before. We want to start by fitting them in, and so they're striking with their shoulder for contact. We get that near foot up already so I can drive. Knees over toe, I can put force through the ground. Love these, the crash pads are awesome. I think they're so valuable because you can actually, the effort you will get out of your tackling if you have a crash pad there, it's insane. You've got to tell them to slow down. That's usually the opposite of tackling. There's a great clip we would show them. Conor McGregor, I think, knocked somebody out with kind of a flying shoulder. And so that's the clip that we show with them. Try to keep a tight hook, my head's out of it, and I'm trying to strike him with my shoulder. So this is on that 5th day. It's not a high contact drill. And then we just progress it. Now I'm standing, I'm not kneeling, there's no crash pad. I'm working from, a couple steps away, getting into that shimmy and strike. Then you add the crash pad and the shield. Again, your effort out of these will be tremendous if you just add the shield. Changing the angle, adding some movement to it. So now I got to track a little bit as I run through on the tackle. Again, doing all of these drills, really putting deposits. What does your day one tackle look like? Goal line tackle in my mind. Put them a couple yards, don't have them running 10 yards at each other full speed. I really don't. Now I'm working on these fit, my shoulder strike. He's gonna pick a side. Disadvantage for the he's got to get that foot up the best he can when he's got the right shoulder and he's trying to finish. Yeah, this isn't an All-American right here, right? These are 2 freshman football players. Okay, head dips down a little bit. This guy came out, wanted to play his junior year, really good baseball player. We love that, but we got to give him some kind of progression. Hasn't played football in 3 years and he's playing linebacker. We want to get him on the field. What it looks like, again, we just line it up on the goal line day one, and this is kind of our version of your classic, again, first day of tackling to get people juiced up. Looking at the angle tackle progression. This is, again, valuable. We try to show NFL tape, FBS tape all the time to validate what we're spending our time doing. The tackle wheels, you either love them or you hate them, the donuts. I think there's value. The most valuable aspect to this is, for me is what shoulder am I on, basically on the ball carrier. If we were doing a gator roll, rapid roll, tackle, we would be on the back foot. But here I have leverage that's positive, and so I'm top down, I'm gonna get my head in front. Some debate, just to touch on this real quick, is now that I'm at an angle, is this my near foot, or do I wanna try to keep my head out of it and behind? We still are kind of going, this is now my near foot, this is my near shoulder, and I'm working that head across. For me, it's the midline. I want to try to get my midline on his midline. That's physics or something, right? I'm trying to take on a force. I don't want to be behind and basically have him slide off. But again, it's probably best if you just say keep the head behind the whole time. And that's a lot of great programs do that too. That's just how we do it. Okay. So right here, we're incorporating the crash pad, just running at an angle, and we're fitting this thing up. Really, this is what we spent a lot of time doing this right here. Is what's happening right now is what am I seeing for visual feedback in this drill? Okay, I'm seeing his shoulders square. So I'm getting into that stagger, my gather, I'm taking space, and he's converting now and running away from me. So I should convert because I went from numbers to ear hole, and I should turn it in and run right through. He doesn't have a two-way go as soon as he turns. So we were trying to approach it, again, always through that framework. So I'm downhill. As soon as he breaks, bang, I got to go and attack. And again, you got a hand shield and a crash pad. Now people are just lighting each other up. And there's elements that I think is really good. Landing, even though it's not on the ground, is good. It's contact prep. A lot of strength coaches spend a lot of time grappling and all that now. Got you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Can I hit this real quick? You don't have 2 crash pads. Because I'm watching this drill like, oh my gosh, these are $800 a pop. I want to be doing that drill. That's fine. Because we're going to take this, and we're going to put a hand shield on it, and now we're going to get a fit. So that's a great non-contact strength and conditioning drill. I could do that warming up early on in the year. Boom, now I'm going holding the hand shield. We're going to a choice, and I get that fit. I think that's so important to feel the body and to fit it in with your shoulder on there. What do we do now? Later in the year, we start adding the stiff arm defeat to it. That hand goes up, you got to chop it. He's staring at you, he's going to use his weapon. Okay, so I got to start looking at it, chop that thing, and shoulder strike. You'd be surprised. People get it. Head's on the wrong side, but we got that thing and we got it fit up. Again, that's all stuff that taken from different clinics. Okay, looking at this tack, seeing it show up. Again, Coach Durian's one of the best in the business. Some of you saw him speak last week or 2 weeks ago down in Glacier. But bang, what do I see? I'm coming downhill. I got to leverage that thing. I try to work that near foot up, tackling near foot, near shoulder. My head's out of it, and great finish right there, top down. Doesn't happen that often, but obviously that's a great look at it. I'm in the box right now. Got to be short here. Hours. Getting started here. Okay, so boom. I'm here, slip under the block, bang, get your near shoulder on it. Head's at it. Okay, option situation. Coming downhill, that's a heck of a finish right here. Number 9 shows up a lot, doesn't have the near foot up. But again, violent intent, understanding that he wants to get that near shoulder on and delivering a blow. Tremendous. We'll see this one, this is probably the tackle of the year. Boom, across the middle, downhill. Look at the finish. Look at the finish with the feet. It's building confidence. That's week one. That's building confidence through sound drill work and having the progression of framework to understand where am I in the field, what should I be doing. I mean, that's it. That's obviously clinic tape. So that's what we're talking about. Boom, gator roll. I got to just, everyone's doing it. We're trying to do it too. This drill, we try it. Sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't. To me, it's still your near foot, near shoulder. That's my near shoulder. My head's going to be behind. I'm rolling in that direction. That's our progression. We're starting with that, trying to teach it. We start to add space. Coach Ward, one of my best friends, he's at Bethlehem Catholic down in PA. He was down there in Georgia with me. Did the best ever I've seen at coaching this thing. So we're using the donut here. We're obviously on the back part of it. You can see him throwing that hook. He used to say, throw that hook and gator roll. This is your banana pursuit now added to it. We talked about this guy is in front of me. I should be working an ankle tap. Now all of a sudden, I'm trailing him. It's negative. I gotta bend, run that banana path, and finish. And I think that's tremendous effort right there. High school kid, now he's playing at Austin Peay, so that's cheating. But, heck of a player. This is the backup quarterback at UNH, believe it or not, University of New Hampshire, quarterback guy. He's our best defensive player too. Okay. Couldn't play him there a whole lot, but heck of a defensive player. You can see right there throwing the hook. Changing the angle on this. So again, I'm top down and bending without that cone stimulus. It's all good. Not the best tape in the world. This was the first day we did it, but trying to make it position specific and get other drills. So we've got a box guy right here. He's boxing it, and we've got a pursuit guy working that roll tackle on the back side. So just trying to get with D linemen. To me, it's boom. I get this down block, right? We got a puller coming to you. You're boxing it back. The other D lineman got a puller, get in the hip pocket, chase it to a roll tackle. Again, just a little way to make it position specific. And when the DBs come, you change the drill. When the War Daddies get there, you do a little bit different drill. Backers are there, it's a little bit different. So you can start to customize even within your circuit work of how that's going on. So there's a lot when they're going to come and get yelled at. But we obviously have swipe the ankle. There's some film examples. We didn't get into our ball disruption, high pointing the ball, all that, stab, break, the whole nine. So I can send this to you, MP4. I can send it to you on Huddle, because we got Huddle too. So we can send that to you and share it if you are interested. But I appreciate you taking the time.